helmets. Like, that was the reason he wore a helmet as far as all of us were concerned when Star Wars first came out. And now it's like, no, it's this cult and you never take it off. But then Boba Fett did take it off. And Mando knows Boba Fett and they're friends. But Mando just really wants to be a Mandalorian, so he has to go take a bath in the bathwaters in Mandalore that's destroyed and nobody cares about. Like, it's just, this is stupid, people. Hey guys, as usual, please like and subscribe if you like the content. Please check out my Star Wars sequels reimagined if you have the time and wherewithal. Also got a bunch of reviews, a whole bunch of Star Wars videos. And let's get into this Mando episode 1 of season 3. This is the premiere. And just before we get going here, if you had expectations that this was going to be some sort of exciting, mind-blowing premiere, which is usually what you do, you usually want to have a big cliffhanger and everything else when you're writing. Essentially, the premiere episode of any season is your hook. Well, you'll find out what the hook they gave us is in about a minute here. But anyways, this is hilarious. So honestly, I laughed out loud multiple times during this episode. It's really funny. So there's that aspect. If you're looking for a laugh, this is the show for you. This is the episode for you. You might hear a little bit of coughing in the background, potentially. My kids are in the other room, but they are under the weather. I will start off by saying, if you didn't watch the god-awful Book of Boba Fett, you wouldn't know that there was 2 full episodes of Mando in the middle of it, where Grogu is brought to Luke, and Luke makes him choose between training and Mando. Like he says, you can either stay with your dad or don't see him anymore and train with me, which kind of goes against everything Luke learned about the Jedi and attachments and the love of his father, and everything just becomes meaningless now. Favreau came out and said to the media that if you really want to know what's going on and why Grogu's back with Mando, because when the end of season 2 he goes with Luke, well, you got to watch the Book of Boba Fett. So there's essentially Mandalorian episodes in the Book of Boba Fett. These people are so disorganized, it's so dumb. And speculation is that they put those episodes into Book of Boba Fett because Book of Boba Fett was terrible and was getting really bad reviews, and so they shoehorned in these 2 episodes of Mando that were actually supposed to be the beginning of season 3, which would have been a better beginning of season 3, but they did that and then delayed putting out season 3 of Mando. So there's a lot of speculation that they did that Mando's actually season 3 was shot quite a while ago, and then they had to change it because Book of Boba Fett was so bad, and they had to make it look better. And I'm talking literally, Boba Fett's not even in those 2 episodes. They are Mandalorian episodes. So what is going on over there, I don't know, but they are doing just a terrible job. So there you go. So Luke's whole arc in the original trilogy basically is meaningless because he's right back to the old Jedi ways where you can't have your dad around and you've got to be in this temple where you don't know your parents and all this nonsense. So what a good vibe to start the 3rd season of Adventures in Babysitting. I mean, Mando. So Mando has the Darksaber, which means he has the right to the throne of Mandalore, which is a pile of rubble. It's abandoned. It's a pile of rubble. There's talk in this episode that it's a poison planet. Like, what? Who cares about the throne of Mandalore? Like, who cares? So there's no tension for me as a viewer. I'm going like, I don't care that he has the Darksaber. I don't care about Mandalore. There's nothing there. There's nobody there. It's dumb. Like, who cares about Mandalore? It's over. But anyway, we're supposed to care about it, I guess. And of course, he has Grogu, who in this episode basically just walks around being cute. He has absolutely nothing to do with anything. He's there so that when there's a moment where Mando might die, he can put his hand out. That's his entire character is. He's a plot device so that, and I hate to say this, I know everybody loves him, he's cute and whatever, so that if Mando runs into a big creature or a bunch of guys or a rancor or something happens, Grogu will just stand there and put his hand out, and then everything's good again. So, again, no tension, no creativity, there's nothing there. And I was debating with somebody on Twitter about how, like, think of the creativity that went into Luke having to face the Rancor without his lightsaber, and he had to find a way to make it work, and he couldn't just use the Force on this gigantic beast. It was too much, and he was a Jedi Master at the time. And there's Grogu just puts his hand out, and the Rancor goes to sleep. Super creative. What a fantastic scene where you just have this creature that puts his hand out and everything gets good again. Like, there's no tension, there's no creativity there. These guys are creatively bankrupt. But anyways, so it starts with a bunch of Mandos, and they make a helmet for some kid, and he's gonna become a Mandalorian. And again, the armor is there, and why the armor is some sort of authority to all the Mandalorians, we don't know. Like, she just basically dictates the way it's gonna be. We don't really know why. I guess she's the head of this cult. Anyway, whatever. So she puts the helmet on the kid, and then basically it's a Mandalorian baptism. I mean, he's in a lake. Like, there's a lot of imagery of like baptism imagery, and she like scoops some water up, and she's about to do something with it. I think pour it on his head or something with the helmet on or something, and then they never can because right before the kid is about to swear never to take off his helmet, some giant croc creature comes out of the water and attacks them, and they're losing, and they can't handle it. And then Mando, out of nowhere, swoops down with his Naboo fighter and shoots it, and that's it. So he saves all these people. He just happens to be there at the right time because he wants to talk to the armorer. And they were all going to die from this crocodile creature, so thank goodness he had to talk to the armorer. And then you get another scene with the armor. I mean, guys, this is so. Anyways, then you get another scene with the armor going on about Din removing his helmet. Like, this is like the third scene now, or just oh, you took your helmet off. Like, if that's all this cult is, why does Din even want to be part of it? That's what we do. Our entire existence is based on not showing our faces. That is the entirety of the creed. It's I'm sorry, but like if I'm him, I'm like, bro, I already took it off. I've taken it off multiple times. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna do my own thing. Again, the whole helmet discussion is getting old. It's getting played out. It's not interesting at all anymore, and no one cares, including Bo-Katan. Her sect doesn't care. And again, who gave the armor this authority over everybody? It's never really explained. I'm bored with the helmet plot line. I think a lot of people are. It's getting stupid. So Mando got some crystal thing that shows the waters under Mandalore may not be contaminated, so he can go bath in them, bathe in them, and that will redeem him for taking his helmet off. So this lady will look at him and say, "You are a Mandalorian again." So he has to go take a bath in this water under Mandalore. So this armor will validate him, I guess. And it's like, why does he care? And he was already telling Bo-Katan to just take the dark saber, take the throne, and now all of a sudden he cares about being a Mandalorian so much, cares so much what this lady designates him as. I'm also wondering, is the Mandalorian story, like the dark saber stuff in the Clone Wars, the Filoni one? If somebody could comment, because that would make sense why this is just so convoluted. But anyways, because this whole thing with the baptisms and the baths over the helmet wearing, it's dumb. I always thought Boba Fett wearing his helmet was just so people wouldn't know who he really was. You know what I mean? So like he could blend in when he wasn't actually bounty hunting, like when he went home wherever he lived, Coruscant or whatever, and he wants to just blend in with the public and get some R&R. He could do that without anyone knowing who he was. Like, that was the reason he wore a helmet, as far as all of us were concerned when Star Wars first came out. And now it's like, no, it's this cult, and you never take it off. But then Boba Fett did take it off. And Mando knows Boba Fett, and they're friends. But Mando just really wants to be a Mandalorian, so he has to go take a bath in the bath waters in Mandalore that's destroyed and nobody cares about. Like, it's just, this is stupid, people. So Mando says, "I'll see you again" to the armorer. It's like, "I'll see you again, armorer, when I prove that I took a bath." So somehow he has to prove he took a bath. I guess he's going to scoop a bunch of water out of there and carry a bucket back to her. "Look, the water!" And then she can be like, "Yeah, but I don't know that you took a bath in there. Why don't you take a picture?" Like, did they not have iPhones in Star Wars? Anyways, take a picture. I guess, I don't know. He's going to prove they took a bath in the bath water and go back to the armor so she can validate who he is as a person in this gigantic galaxy with bazillions of creatures and people everywhere. Like, why does he care? I don't know. Maybe the whole thing is he stinks. Maybe she's manipulating him into getting clean. I don't know. Maybe he just stinks. He hasn't taken a bath in like years. I don't know. But anyway, there's some creatures traveling through hyperspace with Mando and Grogu, and you can see them, like, kind of, Grogu sees them on the outside of the hyperspace thing, and I thought, "Oh, that's kind of cool, man. Like, that's actually kind of neat." And you're like, "Oh, I wonder if there'll be some scene and interaction with them." No, it's just he's on his bath quest, and so you see those, and it's cool and stuff. And Grogu kind of gets scared a bit about them, but nothing happens. So he goes to Navarro, and then of course you get the fan service, a whole bunch of salacious crumbs. His extended family's hanging out in some tree, and he meets Carl Weathers. And Carl Weathers has this really long cloak. I guess he's running the city, and there's two little droids that hold up his cloak while he walks around, and they're kind of noisy and dumb. And I'm sitting there like, bro, just cut your cloak, man. Sew it back. Hem your cloak, because like they're annoying and dumb, and it looks super stupid. And I don't. It's just, I don't know why they did that. Anyway, Carl's turned Navarro into a bustling economic boomtown, and he's doing really good. And he offers Mando a fat parcel of land to settle down. And you're like, yeah, that's what you should do. You've got your son. You should settle down. No, he declines because he's got business with his bath to do. So I guess he was just stopping by for a visit. So because he had no other reason to go to Navarro. But of course, while he's there, there's some pirates show up, and this is literally how they created conflict in this episode with these pirates for a later scene. This is so lame. Okay, so they show up demanding booze from a bar that has been converted into a school. So the teacher lady won't let them in, and they're mad. Like, these are pirates, so if they really wanted to go in, they could just walk in. I don't know why they're letting this lady stop them, but they're mad because they want a beer in the school. And you're like, what? Like, just go to a bar. Who cares? Just go to a different bar. And so Carl Weathers shows up and he's like, bro, there's no booze in there, man. It's a school now. And the pirates are like, we don't care. Give us booze in the school. It's like, that's your conflict. You couldn't think of anything else, Dave? You couldn't think of anything else, you guys, to have a reason for these pirates to get mad and to have conflict? There has to be some. You couldn't just bring up something that happened in the past between Carl and those guys that made them mad or something. I mean, I guess they do kind of bring up the something about he did something to them, but the main idea behind it is that they want booze and he's refusing to let them go into a school to drink. And you're like, dude, this is so dumb. Just go to the bar down the road. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, yeah, he's like, there's no booze in here, and it's a school now, bro. Like, sorry. And yeah, I'm not joking. That's the scene. And Carl's like, bro, come with me, and we can drink. I'll give you some free stuff, man. Come with me to my place, man. We'll drink, bro. It's all good. And they're like, no, we have to drink at the school. and the pirate literally pulls a gun over wanting to drink a beer in a school. Like, why does he care that much about this? And honestly, I couldn't. This is where I was just laughing so hard. Like, it's so bad. Anyway, like, it really terrible. And of course, Mando happens to be there, just like he happened to show up and shoot the crocodile. He happens to be there to help Carl take out the pirates. So they shoot a bunch of them, and now the main pirate guy's mad at him, but he runs away. And then Carl offers Mando a career. So he's offering him land and to be Marshal of Navarro. So, like, basically, like, that's like, you're the police chief. Like, so why do you care about this bath? But he declines because he's got to go take a bath so that this lady, some armor lady, can validate his existence because he took his helmet off. So Mando requests the droid that they turned. Okay, so that droid that was with him that got melted in the lava and saved everybody in the previous season. It's the really popular one. I can't remember the name. People are gonna be like, "Oh, you don't know Star Wars? Whatever." It's like A something something. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, they made a statue of him. So Carl Weathers, he's a changed man. He doesn't do bounty hunting anymore. He's economic boomtown, and he's like, I'm going to honor that droid. And he makes a statue out of what was left of him because half of him melted. And Mando's like, I need that droid because it's the only droid I trust, and I need to explore the abandoned Mandalore. And you're like, well, what made you think you needed this droid to explore Mandalore? You've got Grogu who can stick his hand out and stop anything and pull giant bolts out of massive droids that are going to kill you and put rancors to sleep, and you're worried about danger, and you get shot all the time and never get hurt because of your Beskar armor, and you're a pretty capable guy, like, and there's no one there, it's abandoned. So what are you so worried about that you need this droid? Like, what made him think I have to bring a droid, and then it has to be this exact droid, and we're going to make this droid work again, even though he's a statue now? Like, what made him think that? Like, as the viewer, I'm going, there's no reason for him to think that at all. It's dumb. So essentially, we got all those ship repair episodes, however many there were, like multiple ship repair episodes in the first 2 seasons to just drag it on so that they'd get more viewers. And now this is a robot fixing episode. Yay, or a droid fixing episode. Anyway, so Mando hotwires him. He's still half of himself. He hotwires him. He wakes up and then he goes nuts. And it was like one of those old horror movies. It's terrible. He's dragging himself around the floor with his one arm. He's trying to kill Grogu. And you're like, bro, somebody just shoot the stupid thing. So man starts shooting him, and nothing. He won't go. He won't stop, and he's just kill Grogu because he's on his original programming again. So for some reason, his his dying in the lava made the new memory card that was in him not work anymore, but the old programming work. Okay, so then Carl's protocol, so then Carl Weathers' protocol droid pushes a statue of Carl's bust. So he's running the show now. So he has these statues around town. There's a bust in this room, happened to be a bust of him, and he pushes it down, and it smushes the head of the droid. And Mando literally says, "Well, that's using your head." And like I laughed out loud at that, not because it's really all that funny at all. It's not. It's just so terrible and cheese that it was funny. So again, if you want to laugh, watch the show. So so Carl takes him to Babu Freak, and we knew he'd be in this. I think he's in one of the trailers, and then we find out that there's a whole crew of Babu Freaks, and so yeah, cool, whatever. It wasn't really necessary other than just sort of fan service, and they can fix it. Oh, excuse me. We found out the Babu Freak can speak a fair bit of English. He didn't speak any in The Rise of Skywalker, but I guess he could have spoken in The Rise of Skywalker much more fluently. He actually speaks pretty good. Anyway, that's new. I don't know why they had to change that. They could have just left him the way he was. This happens before The Rise of Skywalker as well, so it's very strange that he says 0 words in English in that movie, but he's perfectly capable of communicating to Mando. But anyways, so so Carl Weathers is literally on his hands and knees at this little door that these guys have because they're small, and he's telling Mando what Babu is saying, even though it's obvious what he's saying, and Mando knows that and tells him, "I know." So they relegated him to on his hands and knees, trying to be. I guess it's supposed to be funny. He's like translating words that don't need to be translated. It's just doesn't even make any sense. And so then Grogu's like, "Oh, that's a cute little guy," and he grabs Babu Freak and he's snuggling him, and Mando's like, "No, don't do that," and he separates them, and then Babu Freak's like, "Bad baby, bad baby." Like that's the like it's just another brilliant line. And then Mando needs a part to get the droid fixed so he can go to Mandalore to take his bath. so so Babu Freak will fix it, but they need the part because he really needs that bath, and he really needs this droid to go take that bath. And so that's where we are with the plot of season 3 right now. He needs the part to fix the droid because he needs the droid for no reason at all, but he needs it so he can go to Mandalore to take a bath. So that he can go back to the armor and say, "I took a bath. Am I a Mandalore now?" And she can go, "Good job. You took your bath. Now you're a Mandalore again. Just don't take your helmet off again or you'll have to take another bath." Like this is Rise of Skywalker level of MacGuffin dumb plot. So anyways, and I'll say it again. Why does he feel like he needs the droid? But whatever. It's just so now he's gonna go scour the galaxy to find this really rare part they don't make anymore, so he can get this droid that he really feels like he needs to go take his bath. Anyway, so then he's teaching Grogu how to read his dashboard components because knowing how to navigate the galaxy is part of being a Mandalorian. It's a major part of being a Mandalorian. Psst, Din. That's a major part of being anyone who travels around the galaxy. It's not special, including smugglers, pirates, Empire convoys, um, anyone who trading anything, products being moved from planet to planet, resources being exchanged. Everyone needs to know how to navigate the galaxy. There's nothing special about it, so they try to make that special. And Grogu's, man, he's pointing at the dashboard. And, it's just terrible. And then out of nowhere, the pirates that wanted a beer, the guy that wanted a beer at the school, he shows up and he's like, "Yeah, you never gave me my beer, and you killed my men because we pulled guns on you for not giving me beers at school." And they have it out with Mando and whatever. He's flying around and there's pirate ships and blah 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 blah. And they end up the guy leads Mando to the main pirate ship. And then you're kind of like, "Oh, okay, now there's something big's gonna happen now. He might get pulled into this big ship. He's gonna get blasted on. Ooh, this is kind of sort of interesting now." And then we see the main pirate guy. He looks like the Swamp Thing. And then Swamp Thing demands Mando's ship. And they're like, "Oh no, what's Mando gonna do? He's demanding his ship because he blew up 4 of his ships or whatever, and he killed those guys, and he's mad at them, and then Mando just flies away. That's the scene. He just flies away. That's what happened. So what was the point of this scene? What was the point of any of this? What was the point of the beer pirates? Like, what is going on? Beer pirates and nothing. And I'm sure later on in the season, they'll show up again, and then for some reason you won't be able to fly away then because they'll finally make it interesting. Anyway, so Mando goes to this Mandalorian castle on some planet, I don't remember, it doesn't matter. And Bo-Katan, I guess she just sits on this throne in this empty castle all day. Just, that's her life now. Just sitting there, waiting for somebody to show up. Mando happens to show up. And she wasn't able to claim the throne of Mandalore because she didn't have the Darksaber, even though the throne is literally a pile of rubble. And that finally dawns on her in this exchange she has with Mando, and she's just like, yeah, there's nothing there anyway, man. Like, who cares? You need to go home, man. Go do something else. And it's like, yeah, go back to Carl. Go get your piece of land. Go be the marshal. You could even have a show about that, right? He's the marshal, and there's pirates around, and you could do a whole thing about that. And it's kind of more similar to bounty hunting, which is what he was doing. But no, we got to have a show about him taking a bath and fixing a droid to go take a bath, so that some armorer lady can tell him he's a Mandalorian. That's literally what they went with. Like, this is just so they literally wrote into the script of the first episode something that could be a really cool storyline for Mando and Grogu. Maybe Mando arrests the wrong guy and then somebody abducts Grogu or something. You could have, the storylines could be incredible. Somebody breaks into one of Carl's mines or somebody. There's so many things you could do. No, we're taking a bath. Like, they literally had it on a platter for themselves. They wrote it themselves, and they still went with the bath water. It's just, what are they thinking? Anyway, so she tells him to go home. There's nothing around anyway. So she seems to be the only person sensible with Mando that comes into contact with. Like, when he tells Carl that he has to go get this part to fix this droid to go take a bath, Carl should have been like, bro, are you dumb? Like, why are you doing that? That is dumb. But no, she's the only one who seems to be like, Mando, what you're doing is dumb. So good for her. I'm actually starting to like her now. I never really cared for her much before this. But anyway, and then she tells him the bathwater isn't magic and that his quest for redemption via a bath is dumb. And it is. It's really stupid, and I'm not looking forward to any more episodes of this show at all. So anyway, so yeah, he's at this castle. I thought he was looking for the part for this droid that he needed, but he went to this castle for some reason we don't even know. And then at the very end of their exchange, Bo-Katan throws in this line that the mines with the bathwater are under the Civic Center in the destroyed city of blah 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 on Mandalore. But Din never asked him that himself. Like, if he showed up at the castle and then he walked up to her and he was like, oh, how's it going? And they have blah, blah, and then he's like, hey, by the way, where are those mines? Like, where is this? Then he'd be like, oh, okay, so he had to stop there on the way. He just wanted to know where they were. But he never actually does that. It was like a throw-in line by her at the very end of their talk. So you're kind of like, what was he thinking? Like, why did he show up at this castle? Like, he didn't show up for that information. He didn't ask for it. So, like, what? Why was he even there? It's just an excuse for them to have a scene with Bo-Katan and him, and she's sitting on the throne all laid back. What was the point of that? So this whole thing, this whole episode, it doesn't make sense. Like, you're wondering what's going through his mind because nothing he just sort of goes places to go places, and then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, oh, that's why he went there, but it doesn't really jive. And again, they wrote into the script a really awesome plot line for season 3, but instead they're going with the bathwater timeline. And I get that there's a lot of Clone Wars fans that are into Mandalorians and stuff like that, but like, this is not exciting. Like, and even if okay, so he's gonna go back there, he's gonna look for the bathwater, he's gonna have the Darksaber, and I'm guessing a whole bunch of other Mandos are gonna be like, woo, we have a new leader. But even then, it's like, bro, you have a leader that is leading is the king of a destroyed kingdom. There's nothing there. So this whole thing is bizarre. I don't know what they're going to do to make this interesting. This is just Anyway, and then just as far as like first episodes and hooking the audience, like this is what we're supposed to be hooked to. We're supposed to be excited about him getting this part for this droid so he can take a bath. Like that's literally what we're left with at the end of this episode. That's your opening episode, is a part to fix a droid so you can go take a bath. That's my rant, folks. It's bad. It's real bad. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you like the content, and have a good day.